I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are tuned in from in the world today. If you and I haven't met yet, my name is Ingor van Roy, and I am recognized as a connection catalyst. I help entrepreneurs and manufacturers develop a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. And I'm so excited to be able to bring you this segment today. Welcome to Inspiration from Inga. We will be talking about the power of networking with a lady that I have known for quite some time, and I actually met via some connections through LinkedIn. If you are watching us live, please drop us a comment and let us know where you're tuning in from and be part of the conversation. This show is usually geared not just towards myself and the person that I'm highlighting. That's not what it's about. The conversation is between the two of us, yes, but also we want to include you as well. So drop us a comment. Let us know if you're following along, um, and um, be part of this conversation. I'd love to be able to acknowledge our amazing friends at AfriCorp Radio. Thank you so much for your support. It has been an incredible time. I just had my last episode was episode 8. So I've been live on AfriCorp Radio for 8 weeks already. Can you believe it? If you've missed it, um, I have a new show that is every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's live on AfriCorp Radio at that time. And then at 12:30 we go live right here on LinkedIn as well as YouTube and Facebook. Um, Come and join us. It's Wonder Women Wednesday, and we get to highlight ordinary women that are making an extraordinary difference. So thank you to Africa Radio for your support. If you would like to tune in and listen to Africa Radio, you may do so via the link that is scrolling across your screen right now. It is africop.co.za. And by the way, we actually have a WhatsApp chat that goes while we are live. So people are able to send us messages, and we're able to shout them out and allow them to be part of the conversation that's happening on radio. Um, Without further ado, I'd love to be able to introduce my guest to you right now. Welcome, Shara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm awesome. Happy Friday. Thank you for being
Happy
here.
Friday. Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's nice to be able to talk to you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been a while, but I'm glad that I'm getting to be able to highlight you. You've been on my radar for quite some time. So won't you please introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you do?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Shara Ruffin. I am a licensed clinical social worker, former therapist of 20 years. Been in the field for quite some time. Now I coach social workers to pass their exams, and I also help them with professional development and branding. So that is what I do. And also providing them supervision to help support their professional journeys. So that's what I do now. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Let's go over to the comments and check in with everyone that's tuned in. I see Gail sent a message. She says, "Hello, Shara. It sounds like you have much to share on connecting with Inga today." Nice. Thank you, Gail. I'm not sure if you're still watching live, but if you are, thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Then we have a Raven tuned in from South Africa. Thank you for being here, Raven. And Whitney from Sugarland, Texas. I love to read that every day, 'cause every Friday. It
It's
just makes me happy, the name of the place where she's tuned in from.
like makes you want to go, right? Oh, there's
Yeah.
Robert, of course.
Hey, Rob. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Look who it is, Shara.
Oh, Jonathan!
Hey,
Hi,
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
It's been way too long. Hope you're doing awesome, Jonathan. And then we have Diane Bayer. She says, Happy Friday. And Jamie Faye. She says, Welcome to Friday. And he's having a little party over there. Oh my gosh. Robert, he's responding to what I said. There are some people that actually tune in that don't know me. But I know, right?
Oh, Rob.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Jody. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And then we have, ah, yes, Jonathan is saying that you are fire.
Oh.
And Rob is also, he's applauding you. So that's awesome. Good morning, Katie. Katie, nice to see you. She's in Wisconsin. Awesome
Hmm.
to see you here. And I love to see networking in the comments. Katie says, Happy Friday. I am so ready for the weekend. I think I get to go pick rocks in Michigan this weekend. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That's awesome. That's one of her favorite pastimes.
Oh,
Um,
that sounds like a blast of mindfulness moments.
yes, right?
Hmm.
I know you and I are both very aware now of self-care, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But
Sure.
before we do, Shara, can you share with us what inspires you?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I would say what inspires me, besides my 8-year-old son, Jaden, watching him just progress very beautifully. As a mother, I'm very proud. Ingor, um, you know that experience. Jada just got all A's, by the way, so I'm psyched. I
Oh,
wanted her
good
report
for
card
you.
yesterday for the third time this year. I put him in homeschooling, but in, inspiration to me is what I see every day, and I pull a lot from what I do,
Hmm.
from watching people go from the self sabotaging mindset of I can't to I can, and I do that a lot with a lot of my social work colleagues. That helpers need help too, because that
Yes,
was very much my journey, needing help at a point where it was hard for me to accept and acknowledge that I needed it. So I now, in this beautiful journey that I'm on now, I get to hold the space for other people, so that they can pour into the communities that they need to serve. And it's a beautiful way for me to give back, because I'm technically no longer actively in social work. However, coaching my clients to my colleagues to pass their exams so they can go empower the communities that they need to serve. That is the part for me that inspires me to keep going.
wow, wow. Um, I'm reading Rob. So Rob says, "Where we are Jaden's LinkedIn peeps right here. Yes, we are. I've been following along and
Oh.
seeing Jaden really grow before my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
is he not turning 9 soon?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yes, he is turning 9 years old, and I'm cringing at the double digits coming in. The little boy already has. Sorry, LinkedIn, you're hearing this, but he already has hair in places that I don't want him to have. So, and then he told me this. He said, "Mommy, I'm just going through puberty." I said, "That's it. I'm turning all the Wi-Fi's going off." At 8, and he just shrugged his shoulders and walked off. But it's I man, I'm blessed,
Mm,
to have such a vibrant child despite what he's been through, with losing um, my baby brother last year. And it was during Jaden's second year of schooling. I'll never forget just watching the resiliency of that kid. Um, I mean, I could credit myself, but I think it was the fact that he's very nurtured. And
Mhm.
despite that trauma happening, him getting secondary trauma from it,
Mm.
he still made it through. He got all A's in second grade. Um, he did have some moments of grief and made sure he got the support he needed. But how many children are not able to have that type of support when things around them are scary, um,
Yes.
cut too close to home? And just to watch him grow. I mean, he's been on LinkedIn since I think the last 3 years, uh, with the pandemic and him going from kindergarten now to third grade. And on LinkedIn, I share those parts of my life because LinkedIn is a platform that to me has changed my life, um, in many
Mm.
more than one way.
Mm.
So being able to share those intricate parts of my life, that are important to me, they make me human, but I'm not sharing them just to share them. I'm sharing them with the intent of letting people know that it's okay to share the human parts of yourself. You're connecting with people. LinkedIn is a professional platform, yes, but you're connecting with a human being. And that goes a lot further than just sending them a cold email in their inbox.
Yes, absolutely. We'll get to the networking and LinkedIn part later on, but I wanted to focus on you
Mm,
quickly. Um, so you told us what inspires you.
mm.
Um, who was your role model growing up and why?
Um, I would have to say my parents, both of them. Um, I was born to two teenage parents. I'm the oldest of five children, and I grew up in low income Section 8 housing where my parents they did the best they could to provide what they could. But watching them go through the financial hardships that they did,
Mm,
um, watching them work. My father worked tirelessly days. There were times when he was away from me when he was in the military. In my early parts of my childhood, it was a lot of important lessons I was able to pull from that consistency, hard work, um, being able to take life as it comes, but be willing to be flexible with what you're given. So many lessons I could think of regarding my parents, but watching my mom um, struggle with her mental health, but get the help that she needed. Watching my father um, be hardworking despite some of his struggles of being a young man with children.
mm,
Um, they would be my first role models. I had many others, of course, beyond
yeah,
that, but I think my parents come first.
I love it. Yeah, parents are definitely our foundation, right? Um,
Yeah.
and sadly, there are people that don't have that,
Hmm.
right? And that's why it's so important to look around and see whose life you can pour into, including kids. So wow, I commend your parents. It's not easy to be a teenage parent for sure. Um, wow. So Shara, before I showed up really, I think before my clubhouse days with you,
Yeah.
I had difficulty showing up on video,
Mm.
and um I can honestly say I had a friend that, somebody that actually he's he became a friend, but before he saw me on LinkedIn and asked me to be on his show. And I was like,
Mm.
what the heck am I gonna say? I have nothing to add. And it took me a while to be
Mm.
convinced to go on. And when I did say yes, he sent me his questions so that I could prepare for them.
Mm.
And the one question that really, really, really stumped me was, what is your life statement? Because I had to think about that. Um, you know, I mean, we go through life powering through it sometimes, and
Mhm.
we don't really think about what is the impact, what is our impact.
Mhm.
Um, and so, as a result of that, because I I always strive to inspire others. I figured that I would add that to my lineup of questioning.
I know. You forewarned me.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what is your life statement?
I would say my life statement would be to hold the space for others becoming. Um, because sometimes, at least in my personal journey, sometimes I've learned that um, the becoming that you are now, that you think you're becoming, may be totally different. Something can happen tomorrow and that can change.
Yeah.
Um, there have been so many times when I was a therapist and um, even thinking about how I hold a space for my colleagues now. Um, I'm holding the vision for them until they can see it. And then when they make that transition that I no longer need you to hold it, I can hold it myself because I can see it. There's so much beauty in that because you know, sometimes I think we undervalue the importance of support.
Mm,
That it's okay not to have, you can see the vision, but you can't hold it. You don't believe in it. It's okay to have other people behind you supporting that until you can. So I always think of myself as a vessel, um, and being able to take my own experiences and wrap them up into little pretty little bows inside maybe a whole bunch of experiences that may not have been good for me, but there were so many pivotal lessons that now that I'm done with it, I can give to someone else. And I try to do that not only with my colleagues, but anyone I come into contact with. I try my
mm,
best to share those lessons with the hope that it empowers them to keep going in whatever capacity that may mean for them. So hopefully that answers your question.
I love that. Hold the space. Yeah, there's a lot that happens in our journey of becoming, right? And we don't always foresee it. I mean, I can look at somebody and see their potential, but when they look at themselves, they don't see that in themselves. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that you are able to do that with your clients, with your friends. I think that's so important, and I think you do it with your kids too.
My kids, my siblings. One incident was my brother. A couple of days ago, he's been really struggling financially um, to get his schooling together. He got accepted to Columbia University,
Yes.
got straight A's in community college, and went straight. He got accepted, and he's like, I really want to go, but I can't go full time. I need to go part time. But
Okay.
then it was a heavy price tag for him to even register, and he came to me and the money that I gave him, undisclosed amount of money that I gave him to go. I said, he was like, "You got a child and all this." I said, this is bigger than me, and believe me, this money comes back very just as quickly as I gave it to you. It's not a problem. I said,
Mm,
this is more than just about you. He would be the first male in my family to go to college, let alone an Ivy League university,
right.
period.
Right.
So I said, this is not about
Woo.
you. Go take your behind. Here's the money. Do what you got to do. And if there's anything I can do to support you, come back to me. I've been blessed in a position now that I can do that, do things like that, because there was a point in my journey where I couldn't. So that was a good example, I think, of holding the space, even for family. And my family, they do look up to me, but I also let them know that I'm not superwoman. I struggle. I have self doubt. I have fear. I get stuck in my head, but I try not to the best of my ability, let me keep me there. I mean, feel it, but I'm still moving.
Yeah. Keep moving, growing forward, right?
Yes.
I love that. Let's go back to the comments. Um, Robert says, I think you actually have a bigger impact doing what you do now, helping clinicians.
Oh, Rob. Yes. But I do think my calling is growing into more than that as I'm growing in my practice and things are moving fast on my end. This is my third year in my business. But I'm starting to see other avenues of where I can I'm helping my colleagues, but they are mothers, they are uh, beyond parents, they are um, every facet of society, every walk of life that I have helped.
Mm,
um, the last client I helped who passed her license exam, she was blind. Her name was Tamisha Tate. She's actually on my podcast. Blind. um,
wow.
Another client that I helped, her name was Shannon Shriver. She was deaf. She passed her clinical exam. That's when I first started. And I had another client who was homeless last year. Homeless. Her name was Zena Jones. And she was able to get her clinical license. So when I think about people that I've helped support, they are simply other souls out there, that, yes, they have that title of being a clinician or social worker, but that's not all that they are. Um, so my purpose, I think, Rob, to you is, I think it's a lot bigger than just my colleagues, but that has
Yeah.
always been my starting point. So I'm still evolving, Rob. I
Yeah.
talk to Rob all the time through his partner. So yeah, he knows I was going to get him for that. But thank you, Rob.
But that's so true, Shara, because people often ask me, I get asked this question all the time, who are you? And I laugh because I really can't tell you everything. There's so many different layers to any human being, right? I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a live speaker. There's so much. There's really so much. And I don't know, I think even we discount it sometimes.
Hmm. I have to call you out, Ingor. I know this is your show, but I am so, so proud of you. I remember our first uh earlier conversations. I have to throw you under the bus because I remember just what I've watched you blossom. I may not have always catch your content, but I try to catch it as I can. But I've watched you literally go from I'm not sure I can do this uh growing into your own and knowing the impact that you have with the gifts that you do, and
Thank
that
you.
transcends your background. So I have to say, I'm like, look at her go.
Wow.
I,
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm so, so proud of you. I remember you were scared to do video and you wouldn't even come up on the clubhouse stages, and now
Right.
look at you. Um,
Oh my gosh. Thank
it's
you.
been quite a journey for
It
you.
has been. It has been. I can tell you, I remember the first time I met you. It was in a clubhouse room.
Hmm.
Um, Jonathan Jonathan orchestrated everything, and we met there. And I remember you telling me, like, you honestly, you were just so real, and you're still the same way. I think you've always been. But I remember thinking, like, wow, you are so inspiring. And then I started catching your content on LinkedIn, and wow. I still actually, when I speak about LinkedIn, because I get invited to speak on LinkedIn about LinkedIn to different spaces.
Hmm.
My most recent one was at a college, and when I spoke about it, and I like, people are always afraid about being on LinkedIn, being visible,
Hmm.
and showing their vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I use you as an example. I speak about you because, to me, I know a lot of people would say a social worker speaking about mental health, and not anybody's mental health, her own. That's huge. That is huge. I don't think when you were doing it, when you started doing it, I don't think you realized what impact you would have on people. But I'm telling you, for me, that impacted me a lot because it helped me to see that, you know what, we need to be real, we need to be our authentic selves in order for people to actually connect with us. And I look at you and I see what you're doing and what you've been doing, and I'm like, whoo, because you're so real and you're so raw, but that works. And I and one of the things that I when I speak about you, I tell people, You decide how real you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You decide what you want to share and the degree of sharing that you're going to do, right? Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are so afraid of showing up online. They're so
Mm-hmm.
afraid of putting themselves out there and sharing their vulnerability. But you are a great example to me that vulnerability is important and it works.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I, Edgar, I have to tell you um when I first started sharing, I was actually looking for a job on LinkedIn. Like literally, I was burnt out. This is 2018. And I did my first art. This is when articles were a really big thing back on LinkedIn, and I started writing articles about the military because I'm a former military spouse. So I wanted to talk about that community and mental health, and it blew up. And I'm like, what is happening here? So I started writing more and sharing more of what I was going through at the time, being a single
Mm.
mother, and as a being a therapist, and what I was experiencing um, in my own life. And it people connected with this, so I kept sharing it because I wanted to break the stigma around providers being
Yes,
looked at as having all the answers, and that was what kind of like
yes,
my go-to underlying theme, and it morphed again, of course, over time. But I think it's important for people to realize that there's such power and vulnerability, but you get, like you said, you get to choose,
yes,
how you go about sharing that. But I always go by, what is the intention behind you sharing?
yes,
What is the value that people are supposed to extract?
right?
Is this self-serving, or is this really to connect and help the community that you're targeting? If
Yes,
you can answer that, you're fine.
yes. I love it. I just want to go through the
Yeah,
comments quickly because look at Rob. He just I when I saw this comment, I had to laugh. He says, "Wait till his voice changes."
Mm-mm. Nah, that's
Oh
all
my
right.
gosh. Whitney says, "My son is turning 5 soon. I am not ready."
Girl, yeah, yeah. I have a funny for Whitney. I actually have a really. I know you're still gonna go through the comments, but I have a really funny
Fine,
story for her
tell us.
about for Whitney if she's still there. When my son turned 5, really quickly, I drop him off at school's first day, kindergarten. I'll never forget. Jaden literally left me. He was gone. They were like, "Hi, Jaden, come on in." He was out. I'm thinking he's gonna cry. I'm thinking other kids they're clinging. No, not Jaden. He was so happy to go to school. He was gone. He's like, "Bye, mommy." And the next thing I know, he's in the classroom. We get him there, and he's putting his book bag up. And the principal literally saw me, and I'm like looking like I'm about to have a heart attack and teary. She's like, "I think you better go. I think you better go now because if he sees you, it might be a different story. He's fine. You're the one that might need some therapy." And she's like, "Get out of here." And I left. But it let me know, if I had to put on my therapist hat, that he has a secure attachment to me, but to know that he's safe in the world, that
Yes,
he can be secure in himself, and that he has support if he needs it, and that I'm going to return.
yes,
There's such a transition that's supposed to happen, for some parents like myself, and I'm sure Whitney you'll go through this too. That you realize that your child is no longer yours. Once she interacts with the outside world,
mm,
it's going to be the values, the lessons that you instill in that child that's going to make the difference. You may not see it today, but you will see it.
yes,
And at 5 years old, she'll definitely see that transition happening, and it'll be traumatic for you, for her, but
right?
for that child, that 5 year old, I think she said she has a boy. It's the
Yes,
beginning of a beautiful journey of them becoming who they are. And the most important thing we can do when they go to school is cultivate that self esteem in themselves, so
yes,
they don't run to the next thing they see to be a part of something, that they feel strong in themselves to make decisions, even at an early age, that align with the values you instill in them, because that's their guiding light. So
I love
you're
that.
going to be okay, Whitney. You're going to be okay.
Well, Katie says her baby is turning 18 tomorrow.
No,
Wow.
see, I ain't ready for that, Katie. No, my little boy is only 8. He going on 9. He still says, "Mommy, I'm hanging on to that because I know at some point it's going to change." Good
Yeah.
luck, Katie.
Well,
18, I can't imagine.
I have a 20-year-old and she still says mommy and she better say mommy until the day I die.
Well, she
I'm
probably
not going to be
women,
Ingor
girls are
to
a little
her.
bit different.
No,
I know you don't have any boys, do you, Ingor?
no, I have three
No.
girls.
Yeah, see, my brothers, when my mother went, she's like, when they get a certain age, is they do cling to you, but it's in a different way. Boys, she just told me, get ready. She said, enjoy it now because this is only beginning. And it's funny because now Jaden, he'll disappear for days at his grandma's house, won't contact me. He has a cell phone, won't. Only time he contact mommy, is there anything on my gift card? And every once in a while he'll say, mommy, yes, I want to come home, and but it's not for me, it's for his room full of electronic things. Okay, I went from diaper bags to his cell phone, iPad, Nintendo Switch, his PlayStation 5. And it's funny because he's the only boy, and when I go in his room he'll put his phone on me. Mommy, go away, I'm talking to my friends. I said, and it begins.
Oh my gosh.
It's
I'm
so
not
funny.
ready for that.
No, it happens very, very fast. And the way technology is now, Jada's been introduced to technology since he was 2.
Yeah,
For me, it's been beneficial because it accelerated his learning a lot. However,
yeah,
within reason, me watching and knowing what he's into, what
yeah,
he's doing, but I think it gets such a bad rap. It's not so much the children responding to the technology. Gary Vee actually said it best. He said something to a woman I saw in a video on Facebook, where the woman was like, "How do you know my 13-year-old is into technology? No, 15, and
yeah,
everything. I don't know how to protect her." And he said, you're not going to be able to protect her from everything. The best thing that you can do is instill the values and nurture her self-esteem so she can make the choice not to follow, because you're
yeah.
not going to be able to watch her every minute. And
No,
with Jaden, I was like, he's right, because with Jaden, that's exactly what I've been doing. There's a lot like of technology that he's exposed to. He does know a lot more than he should, but he's still grounded.
yeah,
He's not, he does play some video games that there's like, ooh, he probably shouldn't be doing this, but at the same time, I can't protect him from everything. My
yeah,
parents, they shielded me from a lot, which
yeah.
was, oh, that's, and that's funny because that's my mother calling me, and I forgot to put the phone on silent.
It's
Doing
okay.
that now. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things that I'm glad that my son sees me in such a way that he knows that I'm there for him. At the same time, I allow him to learn. I
Yeah,
allow him to grow, and I allow him to be his own person and cultivate and shape that voice. It's important. Sorry, my mother
it
kind of knocked
is.
me off when she called me.
It's
I was
okay.
like, she always calls me at the wrong times.
It's
Anyway,
okay. That's okay. Happy birthday to your son, Katie. And
oh, happy birthday. She's at
she
21 to
says,
18,
yes,
husband's baby. Oh, yeah, that's a,
it's
ooh,
15. Wow. Robert says, yes, LinkedIn is a lifesaver. And we have, hello, Chrislyn. She's tuned in
hi.
from Cape Town, South Africa. Nice to see you.
Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there.
You should.
I've
You
always
should
wanted to
really
go
think
there.
about it. I I
It's
I
like, you
highly
should.
recommend. Yes, honestly, I'll tell you. Let me tell you something. So, I'm South African, and Cape Town is where I was born. This painting over here, this is Table Mountain. That's in Cape Town, South Africa. My
Oh,
husband painted it, but my
wow.
family, when we are ready to go on vacation, we actually have a family meeting, and we say, okay, there's this place and there's Cape Town, and we take a vote, and Cape Town wins hands down every time.
That's one, yeah, that's one area I do want to visit.
Yes.
But of course, in my DNA report, I found that I'm 72% West African.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
which was interesting because I didn't know my roots for a very long time. And I had just started researching. And so I was like, mostly Nigerian, Ghana, mostly, and Sierra Leone. So I was like, I want to visit all of those places. So
Wow.
yeah, but Cape Town is on my list because I missed the opportunity when I was in grad school 10 years ago. There was a small cohort in my master's program at Howard University where they went to Cape Town, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't go then, but I definitely don't want to ever miss the opportunity not to go. So I do want to go. So
Yeah.
you've definitely inspired me.
I'm gonna send you some videos and pictures
Yeah.
because honestly, Cape Town is a beautiful place. Laura says that is beautiful, Shara, holding space, so powerful, and I love that.
Oh, thank you, Laura.
Wow. Russ Hedge says, "Good morning, ladies,"
Good
and he's saying
morning.
hi to everyone else. And let me see. Oh, and look who it is.
Oh, Sri, of course. I talk to Sri a lot. I do.
Oh my gosh, happy anniversary for yesterday, Sri. She crossed the threshold of 3 years going live.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, she gonna kill me. I didn't. Happy anniversary, Sri. I'm gonna call you later, girl. My bad.
Yeah,
uh,
that's awesome. And I see, of course, some amazing networking happening in the background. I love that.
oh, good.
Uh, Katie says, "Oh my gosh, Shara, when my eldest went into the Marines, that's a whole new level of loss. The Marines became the parent. Oh my God, I cannot imagine."
I don't even want to think about that yet. Coming from a military background, I never personally went in, but my father was in the Navy. My ex husband was in the Army for 26 years. Um, the guy I dated before him was in the Marine Corps. um, and my
Yeah,
grandfather was also in the Army in the 40s. So my father's father. So the military culture runs deep. Whether or not my son follows that will be his decision. But however, it's a different culture in itself. He's going to be just fine. So
yeah,
the Marine becomes a parent. I do like that she said that because they
yeah,
do. So
they
good luck to
do.
him.
Oh my gosh. But Katie says her boys are the best and they love their mama.
And they should.
And
Oh,
then
thanks, James.
James. Hi, Jim. Thank you for tuning in. He says this is an interesting conversation. I love to see the networking happening in the comments. Oh my gosh. But let's move on to the part that we're waiting to hear
Oh
about
boy.
your LinkedIn journey. Let
Oh
me
boy.
I know, right?
It's pretty loaded.
So what before we go to LinkedIn, let me ask you,
Mm.
what is your network like? What do you do when it comes to networking? What's your approach?
It varies. I mean, I know we said we're going to talk about LinkedIn, but I think networking for me becomes it's very natural because I love talking to people. I love that Wonder Woman cup. Um,
Thank you.
I have a Pandora Wonder Woman charm. It's everything.
Ooh,
But again, but networking to me goes beyond looking for something from another person. It's connecting with a human being. I've always been fascinated by just people in general.
yes,
So I know that may seem a little generic, but for me, networking is just building relationships. If someone may not be the person that you know, I don't know, carves your next big gift, but they may be the person that gives you what you need to get there. And I mean that can mean by their own gifts, their own talents.
hmm,
That person is a tree to other people, other communities, other connections. Um, so I know where I'm trying to stay away from LinkedIn because there's some things there that I'm thinking about and examples on LinkedIn I could say what not to do. But I think networking is important for just relationship building in general. I
yes,
found a lot of my good friends through just networking, going to events, and just keeping my heart open to the opportunity
yes,
to build extensions of supports.
yes,
So I don't know.
yes. I love that. Yes, we need to be open, um, regardless of who we meet, because you just don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know. I didn't think that I would be sitting here with you that first day that we met on Clubhouse.
I remember so
And
vividly.
you know what's funny about it? Because I can tell you how I felt. Jonathan said, "Oh, we're doing a Clubhouse room, and it's just gonna be us like chatting." And I was like, "What's the topic?" And I wanted to know everything about
Hmm.
it before I went in. And then when I was there, I didn't even want to speak. I didn't even want to speak because I was like, what am I supposed to talk about? But
And,
that was networking, and
mm,
look at us today.
I know my first video on LinkedIn was 2019. I already had amassed 30,000 connections. And the LinkedIn influencer that I made, I'll never forget, Shanae, that first video, she said, looked at my phone. She's like, what are you doing with these people? I said, I'm just, giving them value. I'm not, she's like, but no, but what are you doing with them? What value are you giving them? They've never seen you. You're hiding behind your post. I'll never forget that. She's like, you need to start doing video for at least 90 days. I said, what? I said, and in my head, I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. This is not, I got kids to take care of it. And I was in the midst of, I had just come off of being just kind of in a depressed state because of me failing my exam, my clinical exam by 2 points. When I meet this lady, I'm just at home very depressed and just hell is breaking loose in my household. And she's like, just do video. And I started doing video. My first video was talking about how uncomfortable I was doing video. But in that, I ended up um, extracting lessons of why it was important to move into something that made you uncomfortable.
Yes.
Um, so when I learned that I could use my everyday things of what I was going through and extract the lessons of value I could give to people, people could relate to it. So I started doing that more. And when I realized that just imagining I was talking to one person was easier than thinking I was talking to 30,000 at the time. It changed my perception of why I needed to do video in the first place. I actually haven't Ingor been doing video in quite a while. Uh, I need to get back to it. I haven't. I really haven't. It's been a while. My community is, I think, is at 54,000. It still grows, but a lot of the content I'm doing is more so related
What you do
to my
now.
work.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need to get back into doing video again because I kind of dropped away from it. I think I did maybe a video too with Jaden because people were asking about him. But other than that, I haven't, and that's probably the last few weeks. It's been
Yeah.
more, and the algorithm with LinkedIn it changes. So
Yes.
um, I've been doubling down on what's been working, but I do want to do some more video because I've kind of strayed away from it. Not because I don't want to, is that I haven't made the time to do it. Well,
Yeah.
so I'm going to get back into making the time because for the first 2 years, that was every day,
Yeah.
every single day without
Yeah.
missing a beat.
Yeah. To be honest with you, your videos inspired me too. Because I remember when I was challenged. I seen you do your 90-day videos, and I was challenged by my coach at the time. She said, "You need to go live every day for 10 days," and I was like, "What?" And it was a Friday, and I remember saying to her like, "Okay, I'll start on Monday then," and she's like, "Nope. By 8 o'clock tonight, I want to see your video," and I was like, "Shit, no, I don't want to." And she insisted that I had to do it. Like she said, the time is now, Inga. No, no more shying away from this. You need to do it because at least one person will be there to hear what you have to say. And I remember thinking, am I ready? Am I ready? And then I remember thinking that, you know what? But Shara's been doing this. She did a 90-day challenge. So if she can do
Hmm.
90 days, then I can do 10.
And even beyond that, I kept going with it. I
Yeah.
never, for the first 2 years, I didn't miss a beat. Um, and it's to a point where my community knows me. I do get new followers and new people connecting with me, but I don't do it as much.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful tool for people actually get to know you, your voice, your mannerisms. So to go back to that first time she reached out and said, "I you need to do video," I was like, I don't have time. That was my own fear.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we all have that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Um, so how has networking impacted you? I know you said it allows you to build relationships. Um,
Yes, it has, but it also has allowed me to grow in my profession, to grow in my field in many ways. I have like a Rolodex, too many ways to count, but I've been able to. with LinkedIn, especially, I've been able to broaden my voice and to reach people I never thought I would be able to reach because I've been more so consistent in staying in what I know well, besides mental
Yeah.
health, social work, and um, my willingness to share and be vulnerable with my path. People look at my profile and they're like, "Oh, this lady has it together." I'm like, I still don't. This means nothing. Let me tell you what my life looked like today. Like this morning, when I said I am not together, I looked at. I know your questions are there, but I'm like, we had 2 minutes left, and I hopped on. I'm looking for the link. I had just got off of a client right before, and I was like, I'm fried. Fridays are usually my off switch time. So when we hopped on, I said, we're going to do this. And nothing is pre written out, and we're going to just go with it. And I think for me, that's kind of where now I know there's preparation involved with things like this, but for me, it helps me to not have everything pre done because I'll forget with my
Yes.
ADHD. If I can connect with the person I'm talking to, it
Yes.
just for me it naturally flows, especially if I
Yes.
have a good rapport with them, and that's the
Yes.
power of networking. Um, so
Absolutely. I love that. So okay. So how do you leverage a platform such as LinkedIn? Like what do you do on LinkedIn? Go ahead.
so many things.
Yeah, I know.
I live on LinkedIn. I went from literally LinkedIn literally helped me to build a six-figure business. If I had to think about revenue and numbers, um, the revenue I make now is an outcome of what I've been able to learn how to monetize my knowledge and my willingness to build a community that I initially wasn't focused on monetizing at all. I mean, the
Yeah.
way I started out was LinkedIn was just sharing my knowledge and focusing on what I was passionate about. And then it morphed when I became uh, really depressed after failing my exam. I had lost my job a week before the pandemic. I started sharing that despite all these shiny credentials that I have, I am broke. I'm on food stamps. I'm stuck. I am maxed out on credit cards. I'm about to be kicked out of my home. I have 3 kids to take care of. This is where I'm at. And when I shared that, so many people reached out to me. I wanted to take it down. I said, no, I'm gonna leave this here because people need to understand that
Yes.
this is where we are in a pandemic and it's affecting everybody. And I just started to double down on that more. But what ended up happening inadvertently is a year later, after I passed my exam, people have been following me, watching me fail, watching me be depressed, just watching. And I went from being an advocate to building a brand story indirectly in real time because I allowed it. And
Yes.
then when I did reach a point where I wanted to build something, I already had a community behind me already. I
Yes.
just needed to serve them what it was that I was doing. And people supported that because they believed in it. Um, so if I had to think about it in that sense, it's been an amazing ride. I've been able to have, I mean, gosh, um, I'm trying to think of different things I've been able to do. Podcasting, which I never thought what I'd do. Being able to build a business, being able to travel, being able to um, give to reach communities in other continents that I never thought I would be able to reach, even if I may not have anything to offer them directly, but just having someone to support them or give them mental health like support or tips or what they could do to if they don't have it accessible to them, and being open to giving value in a way um, that may have an impact that I may not even know have any idea of. Um, so the first couple of years on LinkedIn, I think was more about building brand story. Now I'm
Yeah.
actually more intentional about what I do. Last year, like I became a LinkedIn advisor. Most people are like, what the hell is that? And it's basically being a part of their advisory board. As new features and things come out, I get to support those things. Of course, I can't talk about them. Uh,
Yeah.
because there's a confidentiality clause. So I'm going to shut my lips about that. But being recognized by the platform that I could be a part of something like that it
Huge.
really shows that I'm doing good work beyond just what I'm trained to do.
Yeah.
And that LinkedIn is a very magical place, in the sense that if you work hard at just living in your craft, helping people, you'd be surprised at what you can get, what you can foster from that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been
Wow.
an interesting ride. Going from being featured in LinkedIn News, to going to being in Business Insider, without asking during the pandemic. Because right after that, I exposed where I was. Business Insider actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're writing an article on women that are struggling during the depression, that are mothers that are taking care of their family, and they wanted my story, and I gave it to them, and that was my first feature. Being in a credible, article like that, most people have to pay for stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you put yourself out there, you have no idea who's watching you, um, and that's okay. It's a little scary, right? But
Yeah.
the opportunity to impact people, the opportunity to build a life that you want, with simply being who you are. Most
Yeah.
people think that's BS out of a book, but I'm living it. I can honestly say that.
That's awesome. Um, so through your content, we learn, we walk with you through your life.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten to know your son, Jaden, um, and we've learned different things about you, including that you struggle with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
depression, ADHD, migraines,
Mm-hmm. I love
um,
cooking,
and you love cooking, yes,
frying
and
turkeys on
the fried, yes,
Thanksgiving.
deep fried turkeys. Oh my word. Yes, and that you're the only one that does that in your family.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten to know you as a person, and so I want to ask you, what is your advice to somebody that's starting out on LinkedIn, or even somebody that's already like midway in their journey? What's your advice to them if they want to grow as a person and also grow in their relationships? What would you suggest they do?
Be consistent. Um, People look at vanity numbers and metrics following. Now, I'll tell you one thing, because people argue like following, like vanity metrics don't matter or whatever. I was like, my thing about that is the following community doesn't matter if you are not giving value to, one, your target audience, um, but aligning yourself with your own purpose. I mean, LinkedIn is a big platform. Millions of
Yeah.
people are on there. Who
Yeah.
do you want to serve? Who do you want to impact? There's a lot of noise out there. How are you
Yes.
different? Because you are. There's no one like you on the planet. So you have to really ground yourself into what you can provide, because you can provide something of
Yeah.
value. But being
Yeah.
consistent with this, the other thing, just because it's not happening right away doesn't mean it's not working.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of people will come to me, in my back channels like, with LinkedIn, oh my God, how did you blow up, whatever. I was like, I still don't feel like I am. I was like, I'm doing is being consistent and showing up, um, more than not, and giving value, despite me
Yeah.
actually really having a business and all that stuff, but still wanting to help people, remain grounded in their who they are, not being afraid of showing that beyond just a business,
Yes.
um, platform. So I would say start where you are, start small. If you're not into video, that's right away, which I do think everyone needs to do video, but start smaller. The first year or two, a first year, I was doing nothing but uh, image posts, but it came with the intent of serving. For me, I
Yeah.
was a burnt out mental health social worker, providing therapy, and I was talking about the stigma because someone said, "Hey, you don't look like what you've been through." That was just, and this was another professional who told me this. Mental health professional, a doctor, a psychiatrist. So that kind of burnt me, and I said, "Oh no!" And I started talking more about my stories, and wanted giving people support, and it morphed over time, and more people started to follow that. Don't worry about the numbers. People get caught up in the algorithm and trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep up with it. What are you giving of value? If you have a business, of course, yes, paying attention to what people are responding to. Keep track of those posts, and whatever they are responding to more than not, double down on that. You can kind of tie that, break that post apart.
Yeah.
Um, but it does take time. Everyone's journey is different.
Yes.
Stick to what you know. Don't try to be anyone else. There's enough people copying. There's only one you. So starts very, very, very small. There are so many pieces of advice I could give, but the one thing is there's a lot of noise of what you can and cannot do. Do what you feel works for you and double down on that,
I love
because
it.
not everything works for everybody.
Nope. No. And the most important, I think, the most important takeaways from today's conversation is be open and be you. Thank you, Shara.
You're welcome.
Wow. Thank you. Let's just go to the comments quickly. Ooh. Okay. Katie says, I am so proud I can tell any military mom that it isn't long before the pride takes over all the sadness. I love that.
That's a good one.
And Laura says, Shara, I totally agree with your networking mindset. Relational networking is about learning from someone and about someone to build authentic and lasting relationships. Absolutely. And she says, I need to be a better friend to LinkedIn. Thanks for your inspiration, Shara.
Oh,
And you, Inga. Thank you. And Shara, where can people find you if they'd like to follow along your story and also learn a little bit more about Jaden, my favorite friend?
yes, he actually sent me a message today. Mommy, are you gonna be on LinkedIn? I need to say hi to the LinkedIn people. I said, well, when you come home, we'll do a short, brief video. There you go. Uh, but yes, you can find me on LinkedIn, of course. I'm on every major platform except for Instagram. So, but LinkedIn is my fave spot to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll send you to the green room while I wrap up. I'll be with you
Alrighty.
shortly. And if you're still watching, thank you for being here and following along with us as Shara and I had an awesome conversation. Um, I'm wishing you a wonderful Friday, rest of your day and weekend. And I'll see you back here next week for another episode of Inspiration from Inga. And if you have time on Wednesday, I go live at 12:30 right here on LinkedIn and YouTube. Join us. We'll be talking to an awesome Wonder Woman again. Take care and be blessed. I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now.